Hey, we're back again. The Coon, Prairie, Ramblers with the Luke, the rebel without a clue, me, the amiable, affable mailman, and J.C. Daraso.
Hello.
That's right.
Candidate for county commission. Oh, shameless.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, it's time for the F-bomb. That section where we talk about what if.
What if this, what if that? Are you ready?
What if?
I forgot to ask you, can you whistle? Well, not like that. That's what he did. We were going to drop the bomb. The bomb's got to fall. If you ever heard the bomb drop, we got to, and then we make the sound effect for the bomb crashing. And like that. All right, boys and girls, are you ready?
Ready.
We're going to do it together. Here we go. Mercy.
Yeah, that was some bomb. That was a real bomb, man.
Wow, that bomb had a lot of power. And speaking of power, our brother JC came up with a good what if. What if you woke up tomorrow and there was no power in the whole wide world? Electronics and everything was gone. What would that be like? Would you survive? What would you do?
Is that how you wanted to put
Could you survive?
That's right.
That's
Just
it.
picture the lights off right now, microphone's dead.
We're talking to nobody but ourselves.
That's right.
Okay,
Which
but
we're going to do week to week
we
anyway.
discover this first thing in the morning when we wake up. That would be a shock.
When your alarm clock doesn't go off and you're due late for work and it's 10 o'clock when you wake up.
You get up and you've had your phone plugged in all night and you realize it's still on 8% because the power's off.
That's right. And you go I can at least get some coffee here before I go, and you get a coffee machine don't work. You can't heat up a Pop-Tart in the microwave or...
And not everybody has a landline phone. Of course, that'd be dead anyway.
That'd be dead
too.
anyway. And you don't know how to do smoke signals. So what are you going to do?
And truthfully, even if your phone did have battery, who are you going to call?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going to be Ghostbusters.
And anybody you call lives a long ways away as far when it comes to walking.
That's right. Wow, what a perspective change.
What would you miss most?
Well,
Or miss first? Coffee pot, of course. It's in the morning.
first thing I would think was that the process of my meat in the freezer thawing would be already started.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But when you first woke up, you wouldn't know that it was worldwide because you couldn't turn on the TV to hear that.
Yeah.
You think, well, a transformer must have blew.
FPL is
So then you go to
out.
pick up the phone and you find out that ain't working. Then
Well, there's going to be a lag time because you're thinking, well, FPL's out there working on it. So
Right.
That's
I
right.
just
So
gotta
you're giving
wait
the
for a
benefit of the
while.
doubt.
And that's a lot of time you've lost.
You're going to go ahead and start getting ready for work, thinking it's going to click back on here, and I'm going to jump in my car, and everything's going to be normal.
And you can do that. You can drive your car around, but you'll see there's no lights on anywhere.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Pretty
right.
soon, everybody's going to be riding around saying, do you have power? Do you have power?
And if you happen to drive too far away, say you needed gas that morning, so I'm just drive up Circle K here, and then you get there and you realize,
You can't get no coffee there either.
Can't pump any fuel out.
yeah.
Well, debit card won't work, but it doesn't matter because you can't pump the fuel.
Then you're thinking, wow, I'm too far away from home to get back because I ain't got
Oh,
enough
no.
gas.
You know, the cool thing about that scenario is the man who has $10 million in his bank account versus the homeless guy over there
Ooh.
in DeSoto Cares are on the same playing
Yeah.
field. Actually, the homeless guy is probably a little leg up.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to survive on the street.
The guy
That's right.
living in Tent City.
Yep,
over there.
he's got
Yeah.
a leg up because it doesn't matter how much money you have in that bank
Yeah.
account.
You can't get it.
You can't get it.
He may not even realize there's a problem for a week.
I heard that. The homeless guy, but the well-to-do or whatever, they can't do without it. I mean, I think after a while, if they realize that power's not coming back, there'd be a high suicide rate, I think.
Yeah.
People that just are married to their fortunes,
Yeah.
they
It
couldn't
would-
take it.
It would be very interesting because one of the things we've done here in our immediate gratification society is we don't know how to farm or produce our own food.
Right, raise your own animals.
So once the coolers all get warmed up and the meat's spoiled,
That's right. You
Where
go
do you
back
go?
to smokehouses and preserving things with salt.
Yeah. You know, my wife is
Jerky.
big on not eating things that are slightly spoiled or cheese that has a little bit of, mold on it.
I hope
And I
not.
always say, look, people's eaten that stuff before.
Cut
I
that
mean,
part off and eat the rest of it.
Hey, there's been times when you had to eat it. you know?
right. I would be probably, so if that was my what if, I would be down there at Brian's Farm Supply or Smith's Ranch and Garden in line to get me a big pouch full of seeds right off the
They'd have
bat.
to be cash only, though.
That's
The cash
right.
register wouldn't be working.
Or I could barter, maybe something.
Barter.
Yeah.
That's right. We go back to the barter system.
Hey, you need some sod already?
I don't think there will be a huge market for sod.
That'd be one of the last things they're going to be thinking about needing.
Right.
The cows and the horses are going to be eating that sod.
That's right.
That's absolutely right. Very interesting.
It can be scary as long as your toilet's still flushed.
Oh, yeah. It's very scary to think about. In fact, Dr. Bedell.
David Bedell.
He's a pastor of a church. And I asked him that question one time, and he says, Mal, I'm afraid to even think about that. He says, I refuse to think about it because it's so scary.
Really? Wow. We take a lot for granted as far as power, all the things that we do. Not just for entertainment purposes, but it runs everything we have just about.
Well, and you begin to think about waste. We do prepare so much food every day here in America that we wind up throwing out. You would be, when food is scarce, you would begin to think about just preparing what you need and not enough that there would be waste.
That's right, on a daily basis, because you couldn't preserve it unless you had a smokehouse or something.
That's right. Think about taking a long trip. So you got to get from here to Georgia to congregate.
Kill something on the way
with some other family. How are you going to get fuel?
Yeah. How long would it take you to have to go search out a dumpster? I mean,
how long would you stay home before you overcame your pride and did some dumpster diving?
I better go look at some dumpsters.
There'd be 900. There'd be a waiting line there for people to get what they want. Then you could get in there next.
I'm pretty sure that I would be finding some meat protein somehow in a wild animal. Yeah. Probably pretty long way before I got to the dumpster.
But you know what would happen? You'd have looters everywhere, and they steal a bunch of electronic stuff. They're that stupid they take them home and they can't use these TVs and DVRs or whatever.
I did hear a guy tell me a while back when they were talking about gun control, he was buying up all the ammo that he could find, trying to hoard it. And he said, well, aren't you going to buy a lot of ammo? And I said, well, really all I have to do is find someone like you and shoot you and take yours. And then I've got it all.
Yeah. He didn't want to hear that, did he? I'll just pick you off and... Wow, that's pretty funny.
That's one thing I've wondered, because at one time I was buying 9mm. I was just having boxes of. I shouldn't be telling this.
Ooh, we're gonna knock you off now.
But then I got to thinking.
What's your address, Mel?
Oh, shoot! If worse comes to worse, how? I mean, eventually you're going to run out of bullets if you got to go out and shoot some. Bunnies or something, rabbits.
You learn how to make traps and
I'd have to eventually have to resort to that, or bow and arrows, something I can make myself.
Or become a vegetarian.
Because I don't know how to make a bullet. I mean, I guess people have kits where they can make bullets.
Yeah,
it takes resources.
Reloads and so forth.
At some point, I think you just have to wind up falling back on faith. You do as much as you can. But think about taking a trip. You could, if you had to go up to Georgia and maybe congregate with some of your family, you could probably find some cooking oil if you have a diesel, mix it in to make your diesel go further. Yeah. You could take one of those lids off at a gas station and stick a pump down in there, pump some diesel out of the ground.
It would be anarchy. What it'd be? People would be killing each other.
Yeah, you'd probably see more pole boats on Peace River. People navigating back, because you had to have the rivers in the past.
You wouldn't have the motors or airboats and stuff.
Well, you go back to sails and
poling,
like on the Erie Canal when you had the mule pulled the barge up the river,
right,
or up the canal.
Well, think about some of the social problems that we have now that would solve, going back and removing the technology.
How would you get your news from the government?
Yeah,
you can't run a printing press.
In the 1800s, you had.
It was manual.
Yeah, you had the what's that called? The
telegraph.
The telegraph. You had a telegraph back then. We wouldn't even have a telegraph.
You wouldn't have that.
No, you wouldn't.
Because you'd have to, because it's not there.
You wouldn't have any time for anxiety. You'd be too hungry and worry about filling your belly.
You'd be looking for that protein. You have to have protein.
That's right. I think a place like Arcadia would be positioned to be far ahead of many of the metropolis
urban areas. Yeah, exactly.
We've still got a resource here of old timers who know.
I've got a ton of rabbits that live in the field across the street from me.
Just get you a buck and a couple of does, and you can be up to your eyeballs before you know it.
That's right.
I got the cottontails, and I've got a whole bunch of those
swamp rabbits.
The what?
Swamp
The
rabbits.
swamp rabbits.
You could be
Don't
on the
eat
cover of Forbes by just breeding rabbits.
The rabbit man. That's what I'm talking about. Well, it'd be, you have to go back to the Pony Express for your postal. There was an apocalyptic movie years ago with Kevin Costner called The Postman.
Yeah.
You ever see that? Where he was
Yes.
traveling from settlement to settlement.
Yeah.
He was their postman. It was a pretty good movie.
Huh.
It'd be similar to that.
Well, you'd have to get that's a little bit more advanced. You got to recover first before you even think about postman.
Right.
You'd be worried about your
that would
family.
come later on.
And people would forget about their jobs probably, like because half the jobs that people have, you go to work, and
Then
it involves electricity of some sort. But even if it doesn't, if you're digging a ditch, how's it going to pay me if the money's in the bank? So everybody's just going to go home and defend their own turf.
you'd be angry. You get up in the morning and you say, "I wish I could call my employer and say, take this job and shove it," but I can't even call them and tell them that.
I tell you what, I'd be thankful that my house is under some oak trees. Keep it a little bit cool inside.
Yeah.
That air condition.
Yeah.
Imagine there's no Walmart. I wonder if you can.
I can't.
People would die.
Yeah.
But we die without Facebook.
Yeah.
We just shrivel up and die.
Well, and then the people that are on that need, like electric lungs or the sick people.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
dialysis and things like that. They'd be a goner.
They'd be gone
Hospitals
real quick.
would go
They'd be
down?
real quick.
Wow.
So it would be
That's
really
terrifying.
quickly reduced back to the strongest of the fittest of the.
That's right.
Yeah.
People be dog
That's
eat
right.
dog is what
But
it'd be.
it'd be 1800s all over again, with the exception of telegraph. 'Cause
That's
it
right. Wouldn't even have that.
Then what do you do when the deodorant wears out?
Oh, that's a good
Runs
question.
out.
I didn't think about that.
Women quit shaving their legs and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Uh-huh.
Hey, people aren't brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be
yeah.
a bunch of scurvy. I don't know what.
Well, I thought they did other things like chew on certain, sarsaparilla stuff around, or
We'd have to go
eat
back.
cloves. You eat cloves to make your
We've been wearing skins again.
yeah.
Wonder how that would affect patriotism, how people would feel about their patriotic feelings.
You're right.
And
I wish
country
Casey
without
was
power.
here with us to talk about this because he'd be a good
Well,
one
you'd
for
be
this.
sitting there thinking, I wonder if Trump's still president, or
You wouldn't know.
What's he doing?
Or does it matter?
Is he out there looking
Anyhow.
for protein?
Well, we're out of time, unfortunately, so we got to get on out of here. Thank you, JC, for being our guest, and good luck with your campaign. So
Thanks for having me.
We're going to ask that question of our late, great buddy. What's the frequency, Kenneth?
1480 AM on your radio dial. News Radio WFLN, Arcadia's news and information station.